You love your family, and your goal has always been to leave this world without leaving them with a financial burden. Maybe you created an estate plan or purchased a final expenses policy. While both are popular options, there's just one problem. Your beneficiaries won't receive the money to fund your final farewell until at least a few weeks after you are gone. Why? Because it takes from 2 to 6 weeks to receive the death certificate that must be submitted to start any benefit process. So who will have to pay your final expenses out of pocket? How will your loved ones cover their travel costs or the reception when family and friends gather to honor your life? Sadly, these questions often lead to the kind of financial chaos that causes disagreements and family fractures that may never heal. But you have the power to prevent that. With a simple beneficiary liquidity plan, you can secure a benefit that's paid within just 24 to 48 hours of your passing. Think of it as a bridge that supports your family's immediate needs until your estate can be settled properly and fully as you intended. How does it work? You simply allocate a small portion of your assets into your beneficiary liquidity plan. No need to come up with additional funds. Your BLP is structured like a tax-deferred, tax-free CD, so you receive interest on your money and your assets continue to grow. And best of all, everyone up to age 90 qualifies for this solution. Everyone. To begin the process, your financial advisor will help you fill out the 4-page application, in person or online. And there are no health questions. Everyone qualifies. As promised, when your final day dawns, your BLP becomes liquid immediately upon being signed by a licensed funeral director. And your executor is sent a check within 24 to 48 hours. No waiting anxiously for your death certificate before your loved ones can plan your service or pay for any expenses incurred during this time of sorrow. You have taken action to alleviate troublesome issues that families don't even know they will face until it's too late. To recap, a beneficiary liquidity plan does what other instruments can't. A living trust may express your wishes, but nothing can happen without a death certificate. That power of attorney you think will empower someone to address these issues dies with you. Your family will need guidance even after you are gone. Putting a beneficiary liquidity plan in place shows them you have thought of everything and everyone. It ensures the legacy you leave behind is one of composure and compassion. Talk to the financial advisor who shared this video with you to learn more about how a beneficiary liquidity plan will let you care for your loved ones when they need you most.
All right, everybody, welcome to the show. We're at the Babe Ruth Bucket Hour. Some people like to call it the Liam Hour, but we go with the Babe Ruth Bucket Hour today because I've got the Babe Ruth Bucket behind me here. Today, we've got Victor Cordova, one of our agents, one of our school members, one of our guys that is I guess I would say it right, Victor. You're in New Mexico, but you do a lot right now with retired teachers and teachers that are getting ready to retire. So we're going to talk a little bit about the flex method, and then we're going to throw a little nugget out there for people that maybe are already retired or maybe don't understand about our new book that we have. And I know you've got your hands on it, and we're going to get it out to people, the Beneficiary Liquidity Plan. But what I want to start with first, I want to ask you a couple questions about what you're doing, and we want to encourage people to put stuff in the comment section, and I'll give them plenty of opportunity to do that. But the first and foremost, give us a little bit. I know you've been in sales for a long, long time, and I know that you've been working the market. You came out, you've done stuff with fire people, and you used to be a fireman, and now you're doing the stuff with the teachers unions, and that's going pretty well. Let's talk a little bit about your market and a little bit about what you want people to know about you. I know I learned a couple things earlier in the green room that you got a 17-year-old boy and an 11-year-old daughter, so that's kind of cool. But share a little bit about your business, what you're doing, and then we'll throw out some things today on the different things to help people that you're helping. Okay?
Yes, sir. So as you mentioned, Liam, I used to be in the fire department, so I know that a lot of the public servants aren't. It's nice to have that pension, but they just were never really taught, or I know I was never taught about how it actually worked. So one of the things I like to do is go into the different fire departments, the different school districts, and just offer pension reviews to allow the teachers to understand how their pension truly works. because a lot of teachers, I know at least in this market, a lot of the teachers think they're going to get a certain amount at a certain time that they're able to retire. And then when we actually run the formula that the ERB or their pension has, it's typically a lot less. It's usually about 55 to 60% of what their salary is. And I know even when I was in the fire department, we always thought, oh, if we work 23 years, you're going to get 80%. And it really only equates to about 65%. And that's 65% of your base salary, not even what you actually make. Because in the fire department, you make a lot of money off of incentive pays and overtime, which doesn't calculate into your pension. But even with teachers, like the average teacher here right now retires at 25 years with $80,000. That teacher, based on their formula, would only make about 47 in their pension. So I want to make them know or have them prepared for that, and then either figure out a step on how to make sure that they can live off of that amount of money, or we fill in that gap and they don't have to worry about living off that money, and they can live off of even more money when they're retired.
Well, I think that what you're hitting on the head, I think a lot of people don't understand sometimes. I think you're doing a good job of that, is that they don't realize the what ifs, right? That's one of my biggest problems with Dave Ramsey. He doesn't talk about the what ifs. What if I don't have enough money? Am I going to go back to substituting? Am I going to go back to maybe being a cafeteria, which is okay. It's okay. I tell people, you want to do something when you retire. I mean, I retired at 50. That's been that's been 9 years ago now. But I do this. I do the shows. I do the books. I do about 20 hours a week. And I tell people, you want to do something so you can stay alive, right? You got to have something to get up for in the morning. But I would tell you one of the things I think with the pension, and I think you're right on it, is that I think there's two things that I run into, not only with teachers, but and here's the sad thing. A lot of people don't have pensions because they've destroyed it with the 401k, right? That's destroyed pensions all across the country. But of course, the government still gets their pension, and federal employees still get a pension, right? And so it always amazes me that those things were stopped. But here's the thing that I want people to pay attention to, and I want them to put yes in the comment section. If you want to understand a little bit more how you can get a 35% to 50% increase in your retirement just by changing where the nut is under the shell, little shell game going on here, to tax-free retirement, it happens like that. And all you're doing is moving it from one bucket to another bucket. Yes? And so the book that everybody likes is the Babe Ruth Bucket. I've got 6 of them, but this is the one that you want to get their hands on. And if you put yes in the comment section, Victor will send you the ebook. So put yes in there. Now, what I want you to do, Victor, the very first chapter is what they want to get. So we may send them just the first chapter because that'll affect all the people that are 20 to about 50 years old. And it's called, the 2 participants. And it's somebody that does traditional pension, traditional 401k with our tax-free retirement individual, right? And it's apples to apples. Both of them are 30-some years old. They go it shows them everything they need to know and what's going to happen and what the difference is. And here's what happens. I'll give them a little spoiler alert. The person at 36 that goes and retires at 65 runs out of money at 74 with the 401k, the pension from school. They run out. With the tax-free retirement, that individual never runs out. And when you start to see how it works, the pension people are way up here. The tax-free is here. So it looks like this is better. But once you start taking your money and you're paying it, I call it the trifecta. You got to pay taxes because you got to take it. You have to take it, so that's a loss, right? And then if the market is fluctuating, you got problems there too. That's 3 things that can happen. If I'm in tax-free retirement, I have to take it and pay taxes, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to take it. I have no choice. That's gonna lower down my amount. But here's the good news: I don't lose anything in the market because I have a stop loss protector. Yes, you see what I'm saying? So what you're doing is perfect. And maybe expound on it a little bit more on why that's important to maybe a young teacher to hear. Even though I know we work with retirees and post-retirees, but explain that to a young teacher how they can even do better.
And that's why I like talking. I don't only like to discuss this with people going into retirement or people that are retired, because I feel like I need to be able to talk to people the day they start, because we need to start putting money into these other buckets immediately. That way they can even put less money now because they're going to have a lot longer of time because it's going to be compounding. And I know you mentioned what you mentioned, like with the 401ks running out in like 9 years. I don't know if you saw the video I put on my YouTube channel. I sent it to you a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But the 401k was made to complement the pension, not to replace it. But a lot of business owners got greedy and they replaced it with it. So fortunately for like civil servants that I usually deal with, I'll deal with anybody, but for the teachers and firefighters stuff that are on a pension, that money will last them the rest of their lives because they're guaranteed to get it forever, but they're getting that minimal amount forever. And a lot of them don't even get their COLA, which is the cost of living increase, until they're 67. A lot of the people I deal with retire in their 40s. If you retire in your 40s or even early 50s and you can't get any kind of increase until you're 67, and that money is already too little to begin with, we need something to offset that.
Well, and let me just give them a quick example. Let's say that you were 25 and you put $400 into a fund. Let's say it makes 7%. It's not real sexy, but it's okay, right? And you can get that in several different fronts. And you retire at 65. If you start at 25, and that's 40 years, your total contribution will be $192,000. You will have over $1 million to retire. Now, if you wait till you're 30, now you've got 35 years, 168,000. Now you only have $750,000. Now watch the dramatic pause. At 40, where most people start, they put in 120,000 over the 25 years, and they have only 300,000. So I tell people it's not when you retire that matters; it's when you start that matters. Mm-hmm. You follow me? And so exactly. When we're talking about teachers and firemen and all that, you work with any and everybody that reaches out. And so I want people to understand that you're not limited just to teachers and firemen, but that's one of the markets you like.
Yeah,
you do stuff there now. And we've talked about, and big surprise, and we're going to let people know, I'm coming to New Mexico, and we're going to do some things together. And we're going to be doing some webinars and all kinds of cool stuff. There's a lot of places in town that we want to get to. And I know we talked about doing some of the senior centers as well, and letting people know about a brand new product that nobody knows about. We're going to share a little bit about it today. It's called the BLP. And people say, what's the BLP? Well, it's another book in the Babe Ruth Bucket section, right? We got a bunch of those. We got 6. And we're getting ready to write one that's going to help you as well, the Flex Method. That's coming out. And so we'll talk more about that on the next show. But I want to share a little bit about the BLP because there might be somebody out there, Victor, that might need this today, right?
Yep.
So the BLP is really simple. I like to tell the story of my sister. She passed away a couple years ago, and she died in Michigan. But she had a prepaid funeral in Ohio. So it cost me $7,500 to bring her home because the prepaid funeral didn't pay for that. And I started to realize, and I started to think that, with people that there's always that rich uncle that can take care of things that come up when somebody dies, right? And a lot of times people don't know what I'm talking about. I say, well, here's what the Beneficiary Liquidity Plan does. It's an issued product. It's 0 to 90. It's put out by Homesteaders Insurance, A-rated company, been around for 140 years. They've been around a long time. They put this out about 7 years ago. It's just now taking hold. People are starting. It takes a little bit of time for a product to get known about, and that's why I wrote the book. They hired me to do the book because they want more people to know about it. And what they do is from 0 to 90, no health questions. They issue it automatically. Single premium from $2,500 up to $150,000. Now people say that's good. Well, what's it do, Liam? What's it do? Within 24 hours of your death, Victor, it pays your benefactor without a death certificate. Now, if I've got a POD, TOD, a life insurance, stock market, whatever, I got to have a death certificate to get that money. Yes?
Yep. And that's why I don't think a lot of people understand that until it's too late.
And that's what we're trying to get people to do. Not only are you doing proper planning with the retirement, we got to do proper planning for people that are in a position where, let me give you a great example, and it's unfortunate. It's my example. I have a grandson that's under 2. He's got stage 5 kidney disease. The chances of him surviving are very slim. So we have a bucket of money in this that'll pay within 24 hours of him no longer being here. Now, It's sad, it's tragic, all that. We're praying. He's got surgery on the 9th of January. His name's Little Henry. If you're a prayer warrior, pray.
I'm going to write it down right now. I will keep him in your prayers.
Really
my
awesome.
prayers, sorry.
And he's a great little guy. He's happy. I mean, we're trusting God, but a kidney transplant won't work for him. He's got to have a lot of internal stuff done. So we're praying for that. And my son, he probably get mad at me for sharing, but he's private, and I'm not sharing. That's his broken glass. I get it, but I'm trying to share because it's my grandson. And so I'm trying to make a point here that with this new product, we have $10,000 set aside. So if something happens, and it could be 5 to 7 years, and we're praying for that, right? The longer, the better. And so, but if it doesn't happen, immediately when something would happen, $10,000 would go directly to the family with no death certificate, no nothing, within 24 hours. And you know as well as I do, it's tragic to bury a parent, but it's even more tragic to bury a child. And you don't really want to worry about all of that, right? And so that's there. So if you're listening, people say, why would I put one on my child? That's exactly the reason. It doesn't have to be somebody that has a diagnosis, because we know every day, Victor, kids run across on the street on their bicycle and things happen. We know those things are there. And so, but it is used a lot for people that are estate planning. A lot of estate plannings will call it, attorneys will call us probate attorneys. If you're in that market, reach out to Victor, because Victor, we do a lot of seminars for probate attorneys because they don't know anything about this. Now, the reason why they like it is because there's instant access to go ahead and start probate. You can't start with no money. You got to be able to have it. Now, people say, well, I can get a death certificate in 2 weeks. Well, maybe, but what if they have to have an autopsy? What if they die out of state? My sister's death certificate took 8 weeks because she died in Michigan, right? And so we couldn't get the life insurance. We couldn't get even the other things. Luckily, the prepaid kind of helped us a little bit, but they were still waiting on what? The death certificate. So they knew that was coming. So they did some things they normally don't do. If you don't have money, they're not giving you a casket. If you don't have money, they're not giving you a plot. Yes. And so what the BLP does is it provides money without a beneficiary having to have a death certificate. Now people say, well, then how does it work? Well, you can't just call up and say, hey, Victor died, send me a check. No, whoever's got the body, the crematory, the funeral home, they call them, they call the 800 number. They say, hey, this is Victor from ABC Funeral Home. Sandy Jones died. We wanted to reach out to you. What is that all we need? They'll send them a form, a real quick form, fax it back. And then within that time period, 24 hours later, you will have the money on your doorstep. Now, here's the thing. They do not pay directly to the nursing home or funeral home or whatever it has to be paid. It goes directly to the client, which is nice too. The other thing I tell people, do not make the mistake, and we'll finish up with this. Do not make the mistake when you go in to do a funeral. First of all, I've been doing this for 35 years. And when my mama died, Victor, my mama had a prepaid funeral. Everything was done. They still got me on the $500 obituary that I could have done for myself for $25 because I wasn't in my right mind, even though I've done this my whole life. Mm-hmm. So I tell people, be real careful when you walk into the funeral home. They're loving, they're compassionate, but it's also a business. And they're going to say to you, Victor, how much money do you have for the funeral? I always tell people to say, we are adequately prepared. We have enough. Don't give them enough.
I learned that the hard way myself.
So you'll give us your example. How did that happen?
Yeah, with my dad, when my dad passed away, he didn't have anything. So that's why that was one reason I learned real quickly how important this was. And it was basically up to me and my grandma to pay for everything. And I tried to get smart and I ordered the casket online for $1,100 because the funeral home wanted $7,000 for this exact same one. Well, they charged us $5,000. If we didn't buy the casket from them, they charged us a $5,000 fee anyway. So we ended up saving like $900, but we were stressing, waiting to see if the casket was going to show up.
Yep, and that's why having an opportunity to not have to worry about the death certificate, not to have, and people say, well, I got a joint account with my child. That's a big mistake, because if your child gets divorced, guess what? Half of that money now is the spouse that maybe you don't like anymore. Maybe you don't like the daughter-in-law now because she's taking the kids away from your son, or vice versa, right? And so I tell people that's a big mistake. So if you those type of things, that's what's great about what you do, Victor, is that people need to understand. Yes, you like to work with teachers. Yes, you work with the firemen unions and all that. That's great. But your circle is big enough that's why we're doing these things, and we're going to be doing more of them. The next thing that they're going to see is me and you doing a webinar that people can come on for free. People that do that will get a free copy of the book, right? We'll give them a couple books. They can pick which one they want. I do want you to get them out. Again, put yes in the comment section so Victor can get you at least the first chapter of this one on the 2 participants, so you can see for yourself, apples to apples, why the pension is important and why working with Victor is the same. So Victor, I'm gonna let you say goodbye to everybody. We'll close it out, and I appreciate you being on the show today.
Yep, thank you. As Liam said, I do work with primarily with a lot of teachers and firefighters, but I work with small business owners. I work with just normal retirees, anybody that needs help with their finances, with their retirement or with life insurance. I'm licensed to help anybody in the state. I'm also licensed in 10 different states, but here in New Mexico is my primary market. So as Liam said, I am more than adequate or more than willing to help everybody. Just give me a call or just message me in the chat.
And we are excited about, we're going to be doing a webinar here sooner than later. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be on there. I'll let everybody know when that's going to be, and that way we can get as many people on there that can use the help. It's a free webinar. It's just free advice that you guys can utilize. And then if you have any questions past that, you can always reach out to me.
And you get a free gift. Why not? Come on.
Yeah, you get a free book too. Or, unless you guys want to go on Amazon and buy it, Liam will get paid for it.
Victor, I know you're seeing my shirt and you're going, where do I get one of those BRB shirts, man? We will get you one. But yeah, I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much for letting me do this, because I know you guys love being on our show, but we couldn't do it without you guys, and we appreciate it. And I know that one of the great things about having 35 years experience in this business is that we're able to help you understand some things that you're trying to get so your clients understand them. Yes?
Exactly.
Right. And so I appreciate everybody. We'll see you next time on the Babe Ruth Bucket Hour. And again, Victor, thank you for being a part of this. And again, put in the comment sections yes, and Victor will get back to you here shortly. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.